I was tempted. To put these
so
on,
close.
but I'll hold off. I was close. I'll hold off, though.
That.
And I'm going to surprise you guys. I'm going to shock you. I don't expect a retraction. Not now. Not right now. I don't expect him to come out and say, you know what, I want to stay with the Nets and run it back this season. Privately, I think he could be in conversations with management, talking about the team, getting ready for this season and what we got. But I don't expect him just to come out or even to them and say, you know what, don't trade me. I think he'll just be cool, okay, and not say anything. But if I'm the Nets, I don't need a retraction, okay? There are only two circumstances under which I'm trading Kevin Durant. One, the Celtics or someone else blows me away with a deal. I mean, blows me away. All right? People mocked when I said
Tatum
Robert Williams
and
III. Jaylen Brown and Tatum. No, not Tatum. No.
Marcus Smart.
Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Robert Williams III, and picks. Because here's the thing. If for the Celtics, Nick, I want even more than I want from other teams. Because not only would I be trading KD in my conference, it's in the division, for goodness sake. It is to the team that everyone knows fleeced the Nets nearly a decade ago, and that's why the Celtics are in the position they're in as a contender. Okay, so if I'm dealing with Boston, you have got to give me more, like 150 cents or $1.50 for the dollar. So I get blown away with an offer, or Kevin Durant starts making trouble. Kevin Durant doesn't show up for training camp. Kevin Durant starts talking publicly about wanting out, and I want to be elsewhere. I don't want to be in Brooklyn. Like, if he starts doing that stuff, okay, you force my hand. But I don't think KD will do it. He obviously hasn't done it so far. He's been cool behind the scenes. So if he does that, I think they keep him. And I said, Nick, if they start the first month or two playing well, maybe you get a soft retraction, or KD just being like, look, I like what we got. I like the team we have. We're just going to play this thing out and see where we can go. Like that type of thing. I don't know if he'll fully come out with a retraction.
But the problem with that, Brew, is once this year starts, it's no longer next year, and then they're not next year Nets, which means they have a round two ceiling. The Nets only have a championship ceiling when it's next year, and once this year starts, it's like a paradox, Wilds. It's like if you can only go halfway between two places each step, how do you ever get all the way there? It's that type of thing. So here's, Wilds, I looked at this a little differently than Brew did, evidently. I looked at Zach Lowe's report. And I don't wear sunglasses on the show because my takes don't need props to prop them up. However, I thought about grabbing them. Because here's the deal, Wilds. Why should the Nets care what KD retracts, doesn't retract, doesn't demand, if they are planning on keeping him? If, as Brew has said with his chest and with bass in his voice, the Nets have all the leverage. There's 4 years left on his deal. You're going to show up to camp. If that was how they felt, why should they give two damns what Kevin Durant does or doesn't retract? Except they know it is not tenable in today's NBA to have a player of Kevin Durant's caliber playing for you who does not want to play for you. This, to me, was further confirmation that if Kevin Durant does not retract his trade request, which I do not believe he is going to do, he has not talked anything about this, but his brother has sent a few IG comments that give you the smallest window into his perspective on it, that if he doesn't retract his trade request, Wilds, that they are going to have to take the final best offer they get, which I, by the way, do think will be a really good one. I do think they will get Jaylen Brown and either Marcus Smart or Robert Williams and a couple draft picks. And I think both teams will feel like we did about as well as we can do. I do not think there's any scenario where they are getting Brown, Smart, and Robert Williams. I don't think that's even on the board. but I think they could get Jalen plus one of them and a couple draft picks, and it gets done. Or they could trade him to the Pelicans like they should, but nobody's talking about that but me.
And then back to you, Nick. When do you think this would happen? If everything plays out in this timetable that you expect, when do you think the Nets get to the point where it's like, all right, we need to make a move?
October 3rd.
Wow, he thought
Not
he
just
thought
my
it was
birthday,
happening
also right before the season
3 weeks
starts.
ago. You thought it was
I
happening
did.
3 weeks
Yeah, I
ago,
did.
Nick. Be honest. Yeah, okay.
And now we're in a holding
How'd that
pattern.
work?
Yes, I did think it was going to happen quickly. And then once it didn't, this is the type of thing, though. It either happens immediately, or if it doesn't happen immediately, there is no incentive. There is nothing gained. Brew, will you agree with me from this? There is nothing gained from Brooklyn's perspective between doing it now and doing it right before the start of the season. You could argue there's something gained before, call it the start of training camp. Because you could say you want to have your full team in place from the start of training camp. So be it. That's fine. But there's no incentive to rush it over the next 6 weeks that I can see. And I think other teams right now are waiting and seeing how the marketplace adjusts and possibly seeing, I would think, maybe that a Donovan Mitchell trade happens, Brew, which is also in holding, but I think we believe is going to happen at some point. So there is something more recent than the absurd Rudy Gobert trade as the market setter. Because Danny Ainge in his final flourish might have screwed the Celtics one more time by getting so much for Rudy Gobert that now the Celtics can't make a trade for Kevin Durant because everyone's like, Gobert got us 5 players and 5 firsts. So I just think that's why it hasn't happened yet, Brew.
Well, didn't they ask for Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns before the Gobert trade?
Yeah, but
the
that's
Nets. So they had a high ceiling anyway. Nick, I just don't understand why you don't understand. There's no rush, period. I am totally fine. Unless Kevin Durant is just at Joe Tsai's door demanding that he get out of there, I am totally fine bringing Kevin Durant to training camp and starting the season with KD, Kyrie, and Ben Simmons. I'm fine with that. In fact, that's preferable if I'm the Nets. I'm sorry. You're under contract, young man. Come and play ball. Period.
Okay, yeah, again, you're under contract, young man. Come and play ball is simply not how this has worked in the NBA in any time over the last 5 years. And again, maybe the players' wilds are going to have a price to pay in the next CBA. But for the time being, superstars get what superstars want, and I do not think that is going to end with Kevin Durant.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.